I think we've established this already, but for those of you who might be a little bit slow on the uptake, I'm black. I'm not newly black. I've been black for decades. And also, I'm not that new black that like Pharrell was talking about. Like, dude, I need you to just stop talking. On top of my long-standing membership in blackness, I also do this. I speak on issues of black identity, race, media representation, the owning and blah, blah, blah. I'm really black, y'all get it. And because of the role I have in this space, I get a lot of, let's say, pushback. How can racism still exist with Obama, Oprah, and Jay-Z, huh? You yell about racism, but black people kill more black people than white people do. If I had a white show, it'd be racist, right? I didn't own slaves. This Week in Blackness? Why can't there be a This Week in Whiteness? Morgan Freeman said Black History Month is ridiculous.
Black History Month you find ridiculous.
For those of us who discuss race and blackness in America, we get the Morgan Freeman snippet thrown in our face regularly.
Black History Month you find ridiculous.
It's used as a way to shut us up, because if Morgan Freeman said this, and he's super famous and we all like him, and then I'm not Morgan Freeman, then that means that I probably should just shut up, right? It's an annoying tactic often used to derail conversations around race. Here's an example. This thing is problematic for black people. I like this black insert cultural reference. Why does it have to be about black people or black cultural reference? If you guys want to be equal, maybe you should stop self-segregating, okay? Morgan Freeman said, now I have to explain why Morgan Freeman's words don't negate anything I'm saying, and even more to the point that Morgan Freeman is actually wrong. I'm now no longer talking about the topic I initially brought up, and I have to now deal with this bootleg argument. But I hadn't had Morgan Freeman thrown in my face for like a couple of weeks now, and then this happened.
If you're born in the U.S., it really doesn't matter the condition of your birth. What matters is what you inherit from your nurturing, from your environment, whether or not you're going, I'm just from the standpoint of having been born with little. But here we are.
Right.
So the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and here we sit at the dining table.
But it's hard to, when you say that to some people, because they say, oh, there you go with a pull yourself up by the bootstraps thing, and, you know, you're just being respectable. Not everybody can do that.
What the ever-loving craptastic crap biscuit deep fried on some this cannot be life toasted croissants sprinkled with why does Don Lemon still have a job chives?
The whole thing, especially the president and Democrats now are talking about income inequality, and that's basically what, you know, when you talk about the richest 85 people on the planet, right? Do you think that race plays a part in wealth distribution, or either a mindset that you can't or
Today?
cannot? Yeah.
No.
You don't?
No, I don't. I don't. Hey, you and I, we're proof. Why would race have anything to do with it?
You know, I said, and it's probably get me in trouble, but I said to some of my colleagues recently, so I know that it's an issue, but it seems like every single day on television I'm talking about race, and it's because of the news cycle, it's in the news, but sometimes I get so tired of talking about it, I want to just go, this is over, can we move on?
And if you talk about it, it exists.
Couple of things here. Let's for a moment absorb this scene. Two rich dudes are sitting there talking about income inequality, and they come to the conclusion that anything is possible if you believe in it? My chest is actually hurting. Is it possible to have a heart attack based on high doses of irony? How can you sit there and claim using your own successes to say that somehow race doesn't play a role in being successful and being wealthy in America? Your mere existence proves race doesn't play a role? With that type of magical logic fail, I'm pretty sure Morgan Freeman is only narrating that science show he has, as opposed to understanding that science show he has. So I have a question. What about the people that were just as talented as Morgan Freeman and Don Lemon and worked just as hard but weren't lucky enough to make it? Yeah, I said lucky. Now, I know some of you might take offense to my labeling them as lucky. Some of you might think that I'm trying to deny the work they put in, that I'm hating on them. I'm not. I believe that a lot of folks who achieve success have worked their asses off. But I also believe that many people in general work their asses off. Side note, do you guys know that I've been hit by 4 cars in my life? 4 different cars. And a couple times I was actually hurled through the air. and I've always survived with like nothing more than a little bit of soreness, you know? And my mama and my friends always like to point out that people die from being hit by cars all the time. Like other people get paralyzed. And I mean, what's their problem? Getting hit by a car isn't a reason not to walk or live. I walk, I live after multiple hits, you know? Perhaps these people need to take advantage of being American, and instead of complaining about how I'm paralyzed and I can't walk or I'm dead, maybe they should get up and be a survivor like me. That's idiotic, right? And that's the point. Are you going to pretend that folks who didn't survive car collisions are failures and they should be more like me, a frickin' fluke?
I say to people who say, well, I would like to have done so and so and so. So, well, you could have done it. So, well, I couldn't get out of here. Well, man, the bus runs every day.
Oh, just take the bus. Obviously, that's all you need to do, you know? Want to escape your crushing poverty? Take a bus. Where is this bus going to? Hogwarts? Let me make this as crystal clear as I can. An anomaly does not establish a rule. A President Barack Obama does not mean racism is over. And Oprah does not mean that there isn't a wealth gap along racial lines. A Morgan Freeman means absolutely nothing in the face of millions still suffering and struggling. I grew up in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York in the late 80s, early 90s. That was in the middle of the crack epidemic. Gunshots were the norm. I was told that as a black male, I would most likely be dead or in prison by 21 years old. Now, in my 30s, I have built a career as a writer, a performer, a news analyst, and more. I run my own company and I've been featured all across mainstream media. My mom constantly tells me about how proud she is of me and the hard work that I've put in. This broadcast you're watching right now, I wrote and edited. I was the sound engineer. I built the TV studio this is being recorded in from scratch. I put in 15-hour days regularly, and I'm telling you, I got lucky. There were tons of kids like me back in Bed-Stuy. I had friends with so many dreams and so many plans and so much talent, and most of them didn't make it out. Now, what I'm supposed to say is how special I am and talk about all my hard work and dedication, but that would be disingenuous. That would be arrogant. That would imply that everyone else wasn't as quote-unquote special as me, and that's nonsense. Just like what Morgan Freeman is saying. Upward mobility in America sucks. A recent study showed that if you're born at the bottom in the United States, you have an 8% chance of rising to the top, much lower than any other industrialized country. A Pew Research study shows that the wealth gap between whites and blacks is 12-1. But the actor dude and the problematic journalist says, just stop talking about it and making it a bigger deal than it actually is.